Coming up on All About Android, Ron and I are joined by TK Bay from XDA Developers. Finally got him on the show to give us his thoughts on the Mobvoi Ticpods Pro earphones. Also the Nex Doc 2, which is a really compelling concept that's coming out here soon. It's in pre-order. Also plenty of leaks about the Pixel 4a, about the Huawei P40 Pro, and the Galaxy Z Flip that we're probably going to hear about in a couple of weeks. Some new experimental digital well-being apps, your email, and a whole lot more. It turned into a pretty jam-packed episode of All About Android. That's next. All About Android is brought to you from LastPass Studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure that they are by making access and authentication seamless. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by LastPass. LastPass is a personal password manager and identity solution for businesses that helps secure everywhere you work and live. One password gets you in, and LastPass will take care of the rest. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. And by LegalZoom, it's easy to make the same old New Year's resolutions that won't stick. So change it up this year. Use LegalZoom to do something impactful in your life. Visit LegalZoom.com and enter AAA at checkout for special savings. Hello, everyone, and welcome to All About Android, episode 456, recorded on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020. That's 21-2020. We are your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I am Ron Richards, 2120.
21-2020.
Is that a Van Halen reference?
I don't know. It sounds like it could be, but I don't think it actually is.
Either that or Rush. One of the two, I think. Anyway.
Well, my knowledge of Rush is way less deep than it is of Van Halen, and my knowledge of Van Halen is not deep at all. So there you go. Take from that what you will. Joining us for the very first time on the show, super thrilled to get you here, TK Bay from XDA Developers. TK, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I am pumped to be part of the show.
Right on.
Definitely. I don't know what to say. Thank you very much for having me.
That's all you got to say, man. We're just as thrilled to have you on. You do a lot of just fantastic video work for XDA. The work that you do, like, I mean, people if they want to find what you're doing, really they should jump to YouTube, right, and do a search for TK Bay. Is that how they should find your videos?
Actually, for most social media, but yeah, TK Bay for the most part, you'll find me either on XDA Developers on both my English and Arabic channels. So I'm trying to be everywhere as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah,
on.
TK Bay will land you exactly, and development stuff mostly on XDA and personal YouTube channel as well. But thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. And you were everywhere, including CES just this couple of weeks ago. So
the craziness that is CES.
Craziness. Yeah. How many years have you gone now? I imagine you've gone.
I want to say about 15. This is my 15th straight. Yeah. I go there. It's just so close.
Yeah.
For LA, it's a 4-hour drive, so it's one of those shows that is so easy to go. I've done it where I've actually driven in and left going in and coming back. So easy. So I appreciate it, and blessed to be able to join. And yeah, it was crazy and a lot of surprises. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's one thing that really stands out for you from what you saw while you were at the Consumer Electronics Show?
So for weird enough, it was running into Leo at Showstoppers. I was walking around, and I was like, a common friend of ours was letting me know that Leo's there. I'm like, are you sure? I'm looking around, couldn't find him, and then sure enough, he was talking to somebody, and he came up to me and he was like, Tarek. I mean, so he called me by Tarek at TK, same. Yeah. And then he knew me. So I don't know how to explain it. It's like when you're a big fan of somebody, and to find out that not only do they know you, but they're a fan of your work.
Yes.
It's like,
yeah,
mind blown, my friend. Mind blown.
Hey, listen, TK, I'm still waiting for Leo to be a fan of my work. So you got that going for you.
Oh, man. Well, I mean,
Leo's the best. I'm joking. I love Leo.
it was surreal, and it was amazing. It overshadowed anything else I was doing at CES. All of the other stuff that I was there for, the pre-briefings, the stuff. And I mean, all that's cool. Don't get me wrong. But it was just ever since Screensavers is when I've been watching them. So it's been a while. Ever since G4 TV was a thing.
Yeah,
dude, man, I'm right there with you. I was a huge Tech TV fan. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I moved to San Francisco, and I got the opportunity to work with Prager and Kevin Rose and everybody. I was like, oh, these are the guys on Tech TV, and just meeting Leo was the best. And so his dreams do come true. Yeah,
exactly. Especially when you don't expect them. They're just
That's
right
awesome.
there waiting for you. And so that was by far the best part of CES. And I could not have planned it any better, or planned it if I want to. So,
right. Well, right on. I'm thrilled because that means we have you as part of the rotating roster. We've got so many people on our roster, and I'm happy to add you to that. This is episode 456. Wow, a lot of episodes of Android Talk, and we're going to pack it on. Hopefully, although as I was putting kind of the news from this week together for this episode, it was a little slow. It's as we can track throughout the course of the year, the major like flashpoints, Google I/O, the Galaxy announcements, Mobile World Congress, these things that always happen, Pixel announcements. There are also the moments in between that we can predictably say, this is going to be a rumor week because there's just really not a whole lot of news.
So it's anticipation. Yep.
Yeah, it's anticipation. It's like a vacuum. It swallows up all the news. Everybody's like, well, we can't really do anything right now. We've got to wait for a couple of weeks until the big announcement happens, and then we'll take the world by storm. So we've got some stuff to throw at you. Let's see how it fits. That's coming up in the news.
I've always been a fan of your work, Ron. So much so that I had to add to our soundboard today. Here's Android news.
What is it?
What?
Huh?
What did you add?
Cow!
Whoa, no.
Holy cow!
Holy cow.
So now we have on our soundboard. So this is kind of a new thing for this show. Victor, apparently at some point in the last couple of weeks, you decided, I'm bringing in a soundboard. We're going to start playing some stuff.
It's like we're one step closer to Morning Zoo. That's
yes, we are.
With some hands, Victor, I hear myself saying "Holy cow," but is that the dinging in front of it? Is that part of it too, or?
He pressed the wrong button.
Yeah.
I did like the combination of the two, though. The ding ding, holy cow, that was pretty nice. So.
All right, one more holy cow, and then we'll get on.
Yeah.
Play it. Play
This
it.
is the coolest thing ever. Holy cow!
Man.
Oh, we just got a sneak peek of something else that's hidden in there. Okay.
More to come.
Oh my goodness,
Dear
I'm scared.
Lord, Victor's dangerous. Well,
Ron might be even more scared.
we can now start gauging things on holy cow level, and I don't know if this bit of news is truly holy cow, but it is.
You did say it multiple times with different inflections, so I think.
I
I think there's room for a few more on here. So
okay.
I only grabbed one though. So.
Remember earlier, TK, when I said dreams do come true?
Yeah.
So do nightmares.
Yep, exactly.
Nightmares. Well, they're technically dreams.
Yeah, exactly. So
This is the coolest thing ever.
see, the sad thing here is that our friends watching the video stream see me react, and our dear friends on the audio who are listening to the audio version of the podcast won't know when it's a soundboard or me actually saying it.
So true.
Victor, it is audience hostile what you're doing, and I hope you remember that tonight. At least it's not goats. That said, let's get into some news.
Oh, there's a few empty buttons here, so.
Victor, be careful. Ron might fire you, even though he has no authority with which to fire you. He's just fired.
Whatsoever. All right, well let's be surprised throughout the show.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, but so we've been talking about Google Stadia a lot, and we're wondering, is Google Stadia going to work? Is it not going to work? And this little bit of news actually broke right before we started doing the show, and I thought it was interesting because it addressed whether or not Google Stadia will succeed. It doesn't address totally if it will succeed, but definitely puts Google Stadia on much better ground as Google and Verizon announced the deal for new FIOS subscribers to receive the Stadia Premium Edition for free. So starting on January 29th, FIOS Gigabit customers will be eligible. They can get the Stadia Premier Edition. So if you're a new customer, you can get it for free. And if you are an existing customer, I don't know what happens if you're an existing customer, but it's $129 value that includes the Clearly White Stadia controller, the Chromecast Ultra, and 3 months of Stadia Pro, which gives you 5 free games to go along with that. After those 3 months, the service will cost $9.99, but there's a lot of speculation that there's going to be a free base tier that's going to roll out later this year. And there was a quote from Brennan Mullen, who's the VP of Devices and Services Partnerships at Google. And he said, Google working with Verizon to deliver incredible cloud gaming experience is a great step forward for the industry. Verizon's commitment to delivering fast, reliable FIOS internet matches perfectly with Stadia's exciting new cloud gaming, deliver an unmatched gamer experience. I am a Verizon FIOS customer at home. I get insane speeds. So one of the things we were talking about is whether or not Stadia will home connections be enough to handle the cloud-based gaming. If you're on FIOS, it will. And so while this is a deal for new FIOS customers, it's worth noting that there are currently over 5 million existing FIOS customers as FIOS is kind of spreading across the country. So much like getting a handset in the carrier store, this is really kind of closing the gap to get the Stadia in the hands of people with connections that can handle it. And if you have a Pixel or an Android phone, then you've got Stadia. You can still use it for mobile gaming as well. TK, what do you think of Stadia? Do you think it's a flash in the pan? Do you think it's going to stick? What do you think of what do you think of this offer?
So with the limited amount of time that I've spent with Stadia, because I've tested it out at Google I/O last year when they were demoing it in the press area, and a buddy of mine let me play with it a little bit. I love the opportunity to be able to have AAA type style gaming without necessarily worrying about the hardware. I mean, playing on your phone, playing on your PC, or even in the browser. So those are things I'm really excited about it. The partnership with Verizon is definitely the right move for Google right now, because that's always been the limitation. It's availability of the actual service. But like you said yourself, if you don't have the right speeds, if you're already on FIOS, this is definitely a shoo-in. You should be able to basically enjoy it. And I think if anything, it'll help boost it. Is it going to help it go mainstream? That's going to be the limitation I'm always concerned about, because not every carrier offers us, in a way, like unlimited data. So there's always data caps that people have to worry about. And I'm not sure if FIOS does have data caps or not, but I know AT&T does.
I don't think FIOS has data caps.
That's good.
And I don't know that for sure, but you can imagine the type of use of my internet connection I use, and I've never run into one. So
no data caps. Searching online right now, it looks like there's no data caps for Verizon FIOS.
So I think it's a match made in heaven. I mean, literally. I mean, they're already the home of Pixel, right? For the majority of consumers, Pixel devices are, even though they're Google devices, Verizon stores are pretty much the only place you can go see them. So I think it's a great opportunity and a good boost for the service. Other services, unfortunately, are going with word of mouth, like, with the NVIDIA GeForce and other clients. But I think Stadia has a good future, and they just need to keep working it. And hopefully we'll have better optimizations for slower speeds. Maybe in the future we'll have better or even more compatibility. So really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes sense for them for Google to partner this up with something like FIOS with the crazy speeds that they are, because then as the people who are using this, as their experience gets out, as kind of the journalistic approach hits what is Stadia on Verizon FIOS, like that's a best case scenario, right? Like that type of internet connection is the best case scenario to showcase what Stadia can do. And that's going to hopefully move more product for Google.
I'm definitely very jealous, and I'm definitely not getting those feeds here. So, but I know, I'm happy. Right? At least our stream is working great.
What's interesting, and I was going to say is that this is for new FIOS customers, new gigabit customers, and as an existing FIOS customer, I'd really wonder, is there a way for existing customers to tap into that 5 million? But then I remember when they announced the Disney Plus plan, which is for
free 1 year, I think.
They Verizon. All you had to do was so you just had to commit to another year. So I wonder if it's a similar kind of thing there, where if you're an existing customer, you can still get the Stadia. You just got to commit to another year, which I'm sure you would keep anyway. So that should
be the smart move. If they're thinking of expanding, they need to tap into the existing base, because new customers will take a little bit longer. But if you have everybody that's already on get that same benefit and get them to play and share their experiences, that's how you get the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ron would end up with one.
Yeah, we'll
Exactly.
see. Maybe I will, to be honest. I mean, honestly, like, now I'm really tempted. So yeah, basically, I'm looking at the press release, which I got sent to me from our Verizon rep, and
I'm reading the exact same one.
Yeah, starting January 29th. You can check out the My FIOS app or visit Verizon.com/mix and match to learn more about FIOS Gigabit, mix and match on FIOS, and how to get a free Stadia. And it says, stay tuned for additional Stadia promotion news for Verizon 5G home customers coming soon.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there might be a mobile bundle as well too. Like this, I mean, honestly, this is a really smart move on Google's part. I think this is really a way to bridge that last mile problem with Stadia, where anybody who's on the fence, like like we've said, I'm not a big gamer. I would play a game. I would play a game if I had it, and if there was an easy way to do it and for free, come on. Yeah. So,
and I mean, the beauty of that also is, you get the 3 months free, right, of the kind of like top tier, high quality streaming. But then if you decide like, but I don't want to pay for a monthly thing, like the 1080p streaming is free. And if you do this, you would already have the controller. You'd already have the Chromecast Ultra to stream to. So you definitely be encouraged to use it. And yeah, it's a pretty cool service. I have played it. I did the review last month, and I played it since because I love the Tomb Raider game that I have access to. It's a fun game, and it totally does the trick. It has issues here and there, but my internet is not good at my house. It's pretty bad. It's like 20-ish megabits per second down. It's not great, not by comparison with something that you're getting here. So, but for my purposes, it works out pretty solidly for the most part. Has its issues though, and I think they're working on that. So
yeah.
Last week we had talked a little bit about some rumors pointing to a single version of the Pixel 4a. There were rumors saying, hey, with the 3a there was the 3a and then the 3a XL. I'm a big fan of the XL size personally.
Same here. Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's nice. I was just messing around with it earlier. And then there was the possibility that we weren't going to see these two sizes this year. And now it's I mean, that might actually still be the case, but your XDA's Michel Rahman,
our editor-in-chief,
your editor-in-chief, said there are 3 codename devices appearing in the AOSP. They're finding these clues. Doesn't necessarily mean that there are going to be 3 different Pixel 4As, but it certainly opens the question as far as like what's going on here. There's Sunfish, which apparently is running the Snapdragon 730. That 730 does not have support for 5G modem, so this could possibly be a development device or 4G only. Do you think that this one, based on what you've seen, would actually, like, would it be a develop? Is there anything pointing to why it would be a development device, or would it just be like a marketed 4G device version of the 4A?
It's mostly because of just the new chipsets that are coming out. So if they're trying to support 5G, they need to go with the 65. So obviously it'll be 765 for the mid-range. There was also some rumors that we weren't even going to see an XL model at some point, that they were talking about possibly just being 2 lower end or mid-tier ends of the 3A, because that's where they got most of their sales. So if we look at sales from the 3A and the 3A XL, it's the 3A that did the most, because that was the best price, best bang for the buck, I would like to call it. Yeah. I think what they're assuming right now is mostly because it's so early and we're starting to see the code in there. So what I would say is development boards are not uncommon. Those are generally just basically used internally for code. They give them a code mostly because of the reference. So if anything, I think definitely the 765 variants will be more likely the ones that we see, because those are poised to be good powerhouses, as well as providing 5G support, which I think, if anything, that was the big theme of CES of 2020. Yes. Everybody's talking 5G, so I think every carrier would love to get a device that just has the number and obviously the modem in there. So I would imagine if we can get them at that price point with 5G, that'll be so nice.
I mean, and so then my question is, if this is a 4A with 5G support, like, is that a price increase over what we saw last year? If the device last year was $400, like, are we starting to see the OnePlus value model kind of all over again, where the OnePlus One came out and it was pretty inexpensive, and then
incremental. Yeah, I know. We're in 600s. That tells you how long. We started at what, $199 or $299. I think
$299, I believe, for the OnePlus One.
Yeah, I have it here somewhere.
So do I.
There's a possibility. I think the 5G will definitely have a little bit of a price upper, mostly because of the access and the availability. I think it would be smart for Google to release a 5G and a 4G model just to give, because the people that are going for the 3A model are trying to be more conscious about the pricing of the device.
No question.
They want the algorithm, they want the processing from Google for the image processing in the device. Obviously with the pure Android experience. But I think price point will always be there. So if they can provide a 765 with and one, obviously an option without, maybe the 730, I think that would be better. That gives the consumer the ability to have a choice if they're not going to have an XL model, which I would be very sad at, because I always I like bigger devices. I don't.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I have big hands. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, I don't know. I'm not as tall as Jason is, but the XL devices are just. Although I always said that I would like the smaller devices, and each phone I get is creeping to be larger and larger every time. So maybe I'm wrong, but XL's not for me. But I'm glad they have it, because having options are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And the way the foldables are going right now, they're trying to bridge that whole XL and small at the same time.
Yeah. Well, Ron, after your next news story, we have an email that taps right into this discussion. So keep this in the back of your mind. We'll talk about this next story, and then we'll return to this topic. Ron, you got the next one.
Well, here's a quick notification for this. Oh, no, you're not going to get that notification. Google's making a change on how Google Play Store updates. Before, when an app updates, a notification appeared to let you know. Now, after the change, no notification is present after an app is updated. At first, it seemed like it was a bug, which I understand why someone would think that. But then a Google spokesperson told the fine folks at Android Police that it is a feature, not a bug. So no more app updated notifications anymore. Which I don't know if this is a bummer or not. I can't decide. But if you think it's a bummer, don't worry, because where there is a hole, someone runs in to fill it, as we've seen. And there's a new app called App Notifier, which brings back the feature for you if it's something that you felt as if you needed. I was thinking about this, and I was like, do I need like apps updating in the background? Like, how often am I don't get me wrong, I understand the devil's advocate or the other side of this. I want to know what changed, and I want to know what updates happened, and I'm sure people use that. 99% of the time I swipe those notifications away, and I don't even pay attention. Yeah,
totally.
It's just another notification for swiping. I think it's for me, it's mostly that there is updates available that I appreciate more. But having another notification telling me that it's done updating, and especially with the amount of apps I have on my phone, it's never, I'm never going to look at it. So to me, if anything, I would appreciate having the option of turning it on if I wanted to, or for the people that do. But I think for the most part, most people won't even notice it. I think it's a good one less notification to dismiss. Let's put it that way, with the plethora that we have on our devices.
Now, meanwhile, I checked my device today and kind of tested with updating, and I still see those notifications. So I don't know. I mean, Google has said that's a feature, not a bug.
But is it in a new version of the Google Play Store app?
I mean, yes, probably so. I guess it's hard for me to know whether I have the absolute updated version of it. I checked the version number and against the article, and the article I think was first written maybe a couple of months ago when they were like testing this. So it was like a much earlier version of the Play Store. So it was newer than that version, but it doesn't say what the most recent version is.
It's like a Ouroboros. It's a snake eating its own tail. How do you know you have the right version of the app that doesn't notify you when you get an app update?
Yes, right.
It also depends on, I think also if you're having the latest version of the Google Play services. So that's also been a bug that's going around. Oh. A lot of people getting the notification saying you need to update your Google Play services.
I've seen that. Yes.
Yeah, that's a bug that I'm waiting for them to fix.
Oh, okay. Wow. Interesting. It's so funny. Sometimes I take this stuff for granted. Like maybe I'm just so used to seeing weird random stuff in Android that I don't think twice about it. But I've totally been seeing that. I'm like, go away, instead of actually questioning, like, why does that keep happening? So I'm happy you are questioning it for me.
Always.
All right. I promised you an email on the topic of a few moments ago. So here it is. It is a little long, but you know what? Every once in a while, it's great to give you guys the opportunity to rant. And that's what Adam from San Diego Did says, quick question for you. I'm a longtime Samsung Galaxy user ever since the S3, and I love my S10. But am I alone in my frustration with companies like Samsung saving the better specs for the larger phones? If I want the best phone they have to offer, why does it have to be the most giant one? If the spec rumors are true, Samsung's best features will be reserved for the Ultra with the 6.9-inch screen, bigger body than the Note 10 Plus. What are they thinking? I firmly believe that this is not a size most people will want, but is instead a size that some people will tolerate just to get the best specs, and the rest will settle for the smaller versions or get a different phone altogether. Why are they forcing customers to choose between better specs or a reasonable screen size? Granted, the regular S20 won't be a bad phone, but it won't have the same specs as its larger siblings. Why do they keep doing this? And it kind of goes on along those lines. But I think it's a question that comes up on this show somewhat frequently over the years anyways, is why are the best specs reserved for the larger phones? TK, you have a storied background in history with Android. What is your take on this?
My initial response at the back in the day was I always thought I was basically availability of space. Obviously, you have a bigger space, you have a bigger battery, and that generally used to be the specification that gave the bigger one the best features. But now we're seeing better sensors. Surprisingly, still no headphone jack, which is always a big interesting part. I realize it's an ending. Basically, there's no more headphone jack, but. I always want to say I think it's a marketing situation. I'm also thinking they want to provide a different level, a 3-tier approach to a device. They want to give up basically like the S10e and the S10 and the S10 Plus. Those were 3 different devices, and I personally always would have gone directly with the S10 Plus, mostly because I wanted the physical size. The reason behind it, it's hard. I think it's a marketing approach. They just want to be able to ask for the premium price, and physically bigger device seems more, would be more expensive because you have more material, more things in there, higher quality display, and of course all the latest and greatest. So it is bigger though. That would be my only thing. It's bigger than the Note 10, which is I already thought the Note 10 was big, and I like big devices. So I'm looking forward to checking it out in a few weeks. Hopefully, I won't be disappointed, and the display will just blow me away as they usually do. Samsung does great hardware. But I think he's right. I think there should be more of a mid to high tier approach and be a similar specs and give us more of a cost friendly version. But don't make it so that you have to go for the Ultra. And I think not a lot of people will, at least with some of the rumors we're seeing on the price point.
It
just makes me wonder what's the goal there. Is it truly a sales goal, or is it a branding play so that when you walk into the carrier store you see the biggest, most beautiful phone, knowing that people are gonna not get that. I just don't know what the strategy is there. And I, everyone who listens to the show knows I'm, beating with, I'm with you, TK, on that. Don't make it super expensive. Offer smaller versions. Offer mid-range. Offer affordable versions. That's the way to get scale. I don't know. Maybe there's something here that I don't get, but it just doesn't seem right to me. But.
And along those lines, that's part of the reason why we were saying the 3A was such a success and why it seemed to be such a success,
It's exactly, it's right price point, great features, great camera, and it's just ran smoothly. And I think at launch was such a cheap price for almost $200, $299, I think at the time, with a gift card from Best Buy. So It was a really good deal.
Right. Absolutely it was. And I'm very curious to see what they come up with the 4A. So we'll see that probably in a couple of months here, I guess. Let's take a quick break and thank the sponsor, and then we will get into some hardware news. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by LastPass. We love LastPass. 17.8 million people love LastPass. Over 61,000 businesses trust LastPass. So maybe you should give it a try as well. LastPass is an award-winning security solution that helps individuals and businesses navigate their online lives easily and securely. It's all about security here. Choose between personal plans. They have free, premium, or family plans. Or you can go with the business plans. That's Teams, Enterprise, MFA, or Identity. And if you go to lastpass.com/twit, you can dial in to kind of the details, the nitty-gritty of each plan to find out which one works best for you. And that's why they have so many different plans, because everybody has different needs. So what exactly makes LastPass so great? Well, it generates strong passwords. It makes it super easy to do that. That's one thing I really love about it. You can share passwords or notes within LastPass to employees or family members. LastPass for Business offers flexible password management, single sign-on, and multi-factor authentication options to keep you even more secure. It can go on any device, anywhere. So I've got it on my Pixelbook. I've got it on my Pixel 4 XL. I've got it everywhere. I've got a little LastPass, either app or add-on in my Chrome browser. It just makes it easy to manage all of my passwords wherever I happen to be logging in. It can hold personal or corporate credit cards, pictures of passports, and other important documents that need to be secured. And now offers passwordless login options for employees, which increases security and productivity. LastPass security is truly ahead of its time. They engage trusted, world-class third-party security firms to conduct routine audits and testing of their service and infrastructure. They have a detailed review of their controls and processes. That's the gold standard for confirming the security and reliability. And sensitive data is encrypted at the device level with AES 256 before syncing with TLS to protect from man-in-the-middle attacks. Of course, we use LastPass Enterprise here at Twit. We love it. It makes password management between our teams easy, and it also keeps us secure on a personal level. So it really is fantastic. You got to check it out for yourself. You don't need to be maintaining a little paper book of your 5 passwords that you reuse on all your sites. That's bad password management. This is good password management. Check it out. It's LastPass. You need LastPass for you and your business with their amazing features that will improve security across your company and make life easier for your users. Just visit lastpass.com/twit. Go there and you can find out how they can help you, because they have a number of ways that they can do so. That's lastpass.com/twit. And we thank them for their support of this show and the studio. We are, after all, in LastPass Studios. Thank you, LastPass. All right. Got some really cool hardware coming up right now in hardware. All right, so you are, TK, you are in general, I would say, a busy fellow when it comes to hardware. You recently posted a review of the Mobvoi Ticpods Pro. Everybody's got true wireless headphones these days. Like they are literally a dime a dozen at this point. Very suddenly in the last couple of years, it's like, boom, everyone has one.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the Ticpods?
I have a little bit of a mix. Initial answer would be I like them. They're a great pair of headphones. The connection is very strong. They provide good audio. The noise isolation is actually pretty good. People can hear you very well. The range between myself and the phone is pretty good. I think it's a good approach to headphones. They offer us basically I would say an iPod 2 experience if you're trying to basically gauge how this would feel if you're wearing them. And we did an article on the website, and I think that was Joe put that out for his. He got a pair, and I got a pair myself. Mm-hmm. I think overall, they have a good approach. They're definitely a lot better than what we saw with the first Ticpods from last year. And they have some new interesting gestures, a new approach to actually providing us an experience with headphones. I wish they had a better seal for the ear canal to have a better sound performance, so you don't have to boost the audio a little bit too high to hear the music in the outdoors, because there's no noise cancellation.
So this is the type of headphone that I have said on this show before that I'm not too fond of. It more like rests onto your ear instead of kind of sealing into your ear canal. And I realize everybody has a preference here, right? Yeah. The AirPods, Apple's AirPods do this the first version anyways, the first generation, where they just kind of like rest in there. And for me, it's not comfortable for me. I don't like the isolation, similar to what you're talking about. I don't feel like they isolate enough for me. And so it sounds like in more ways than one, the Ticpods might be emulating that style of AirPod. And so if you or don't like that, then that tells you whether you should or should not try these.
Yeah, which is funny, Jason, you mentioned that, because I don't like things in my ear.
Yeah, I know.
Like I prefer, like I'm using just the cheap earbuds or whatever that just go and kind of rest right in there, and that is what I prefer. So so now I'm definitely paying attention to this.
Yeah, see, everybody has a preference here. Yeah, it's
exactly,
very different.
And everybody prefers it. It's for me, it's mostly, like I said, it's the audio is great. It provides really good. I mean, there's enough settings in the application to be able to customize the EQ, the aptX HD support there, a really good performance. Battery life is really nice. That's the pass-through audio that I always concerned me. Like, I can hear everything as I'm listening, and I don't want to boost the audio high enough to compensate, which, as you could imagine, hearing degradation, concerns, those are the things I always try to think about in the long term of how we listen to music. So that's why I always prefer, if I'm listening to music, a good pair of cans, over ear, good isolation, or if I'm going to use small ear tips, I think the AirPods Pro, I think those are much better.
Much better.
And they do a much better noise cancellation, because you get better noise cancellation as well. When they just rest in your ear, it's a little bit hard. Huawei did an approach with their FreeBuds 3, and they did a good job with it, but you still got some leakage of sound from the outside. So those are things that you want to keep in mind. But if you're looking for things like this and you prefer the in-ear, I think the Ticpods Pro, the Ticpods 2 Pro are definitely better. They provide you, obviously, all the features that they're offering. Has gestures. You can actually answer a phone call or hang up on a phone call by just shaking your head or just saying, no, I don't want to answer. And it hangs up.
Cool. That's very cool.
Built-in gestures, which makes it unique. That's a very unique feature.
Yeah.
No other pair of true wireless that even can say they have it. Yeah, right there. Those are the gestures you guys are showing. The top left and right next to it, you can hang up or answer a call by just shaking your head.
Any unintended kind of reactions from that, just in everyday use? I guess it wouldn't, because you'd be getting a call, so you'd know you're getting a call. It's not like it's going to dial a call at any time throughout the day that you're wearing them when you shake your head.
For that, you don't. The interaction with it is very, very, very natural. The only thing they did, though, is to be able to initiate the assistant without having to touch your device, they have a separate add-on word, so high TICO. So they use TICO as opposed to, hey, I'm not going to initiate everybody's assistant.
Yes, right.
Hey, and the assistant's name.
Yeah.
So, and then at that point, it initiates your assistant and you can interact with your phone. So I think the approach is great. For me, better sound isolation or maybe a better fitting, maybe it could be an additional ear tip that you can just basically put on it and make it just fit better in your ear, so you have better sound isolation.
Yeah, right.
I think this would have been a definite recommendation. So if you like the style, they're good, they're priced right, and they charge pretty quickly and last forever.
Nice. Yep. And that's Bluetooth 5.0 on these as well. That's good.
And great range if you like to put your phone down and walk around.
Right on. Cool. And how much are these? I may have missed that.
I think they're about 120, 129. I think it's like a little in the little over 100, but definitely worth it. They're a little bit more than what we usually get with the Samsung ones. Yep. So, but for a size comparison, they're literally about the same size casing.
Yeah.
And a lot smaller than the Sonys, if you're thinking.
I haven't tried.
Although much better. The Sonys are actually pretty good. I prefer them right now out of all the ones that I have. Mostly because of the sound. They just sit there. The noise cancellation is good. They're not as good as over the ear. So I still think these are much better if you're thinking about getting headphones or just for battery life or even audio.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've got the Jabra 75T Elites, I think, are being sent my way for review, and I'm really looking forward to that, because the Jabra 65Ts are, I'm a broken record at this point, but those have been my favorite true wireless earphones. So looking forward to that. I've definitely come around on these Bluetooth earbuds. It took me a while, but now I use them all the time.
We're being forced, my friend. We have to.
Well, that's exactly it, right? Like our hand has been forced in that direction. Our ears have been forced in that direction.
I was surprised at CES that I saw a headphone jack on the Note 10 Lite. The Note 10 didn't have it, but the Lite have it.
Yep.
So that was a surprise, a nice surprise. But
that's a
it's
special
a dying breed.
Yeah, it's a special present that you get when you go with the like mid-range.
Exactly.
I don't know what you call that classification.
Well, because anybody buying that phone can't afford the Bluetooth headphone. Anyone buying the mid-range needs the. I lost the joke. I'm sorry.
It's an interesting approach. I just felt like sorry. It's a dying conversation. We can talk about it, but they're taking it out anyway. So
yeah.
Exactly. That's why it's funny because it's funny because I know we got into it with Father Robert last week. Was that last week? I know.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yep. Wow, long time ago. And that's the thing is that like the headphone jack is going the way of the Dodo eventually, and we just have to, luckily Bluetooth headsets are rising to the challenge, and what was a shaky protocol and is now working, nearly seamlessly.
It's getting better.
So it's getting better every time.
Getting better all the time. Okay. So we will, that's a conversation we'll continue to have on the show because, that's not going anywhere. You also happen to get your hands on the Nex Doc 2 very recently. So this wouldn't necessarily be a review, but you got this yesterday. Tell us a little bit about it.
I got my Nex Doc. So I've been a big fan of the original Nex Doc, but I had a chance to play with an early prototype when I was at Google I/O last year, and initial impressions, I am very, very impressed with the quality of the hardware. The display is very nice. It's a 1080p display, and for the viewers, if you're not familiar with the way what NextDock is, even though it looks like a laptop, even though it even you can open it up and interface looks kind of like it runs as an operating system. This is actually a shell. This is literally just a keyboard, a battery that's built in, and then of course we have integrated circuitry to the display. But the main magic happens right now. You'll notice right there it says it's booting up, and for the most part, we need to connect something to these ports. So we have USB-C connections for your Android device. Right now, mostly focused on Android devices with a desktop mode enabled via HDMI, via USB-C, not just wirelessly. So Huawei devices, as well as Samsung devices right now are supported, as well as I'm hoping to see something once we see, Android 10 desktop mode actually come out of this pre-production state that we're in right now, where it's somewhat of you can turn it on, but it doesn't work. And if you're able to get it to work, it's not really usable. It works still, though, if you have a device that supports screen mirroring over USB-C. So let's say if you're using a OnePlus device. And I'm very impressed. I'm very happy with it. I like the interface, and it works great if you're looking to have a laptop that's always connected and has access to all of your files on your smartphone, charges your smartphone, and just work as fast in desktop mode. If you've never used it before, we've done a few videos over on XDA as well as on my channel, and they do very, very nice. And it's I would say it's closer to Chrome OS if you had to kind of compare it to an experience. It runs Android apps, and it works really good. So if you're considering getting a connected screen, that was the other thing. This also works in the reverse mode, where you can actually connect an HDMI line in and actually connect as a second display for your existing laptop, or connect a switch to it and play games on it. And it has a lot of functional purposes, and I'm very happy I was able to get my actual prize. Actually, I backed up the project, so it's very nice.
Neat. And they're even showing on their page. You get a Raspberry Pi, plug that in, and
it's of course, for Raspberry Pi users, of course, connected, and even actually includes an adapter to be able to power the Raspberry Pi as well as connect via HDMI. So it works really good. And they include all the cables in the box, which is really, really nice. So everything and anything you need to get started. And of course, as I said, it charges your device if you're using a mobile device, so you're not going to worry about battery.
Yeah, that is fascinating. As far as the quality of like the trackpad and the keys, how is that? Because I feel like on a lot of Chromebooks, as one example, that's where things really fall apart, in my opinion.
So the keyboard's pretty good. Trackpad, I need to get used to it. It's not as responsive as some of our Windows or the Pixelbook Go. So for me, it does need to get used to it. It's not the most responsive. The speakers, unfortunately, I would not recommend. They do include a 3.5mm headphone jack here, which I know it's a dying breed, but I'm very happy, as well as a micro SD card and a full-size USB-A port on the right side. So you have 1A, 3 Cs, HDMI in, micro SD, as well as a massive battery. And of course, now the panel on this is a 1080p panel, non-touch, but it's definitely very good and it looks very good. I mean, you're looking at it right there. You can see how the reflection is. It looks really good.
Yeah,
and if it'll give me a few seconds, I'll boot up Dex just to show you guys how Dex would look like just from like off the S10, as we said it before.
Right.
So just simple.
Is Dex in your experience something that you could like? Could you eject everything that you're used to and just commit to Dex using something?
If I
like
wasn't
this?
using Chromebook, if I wasn't using Chrome OS, I would say I think Dex is a very good replacement. Dex has come along quite a bit from what we've seen in the past. So overall, compatibility with applications now, almost everything that you have installed on your device will run. And what I love about it is that it still allows you to use your phone. It's not limiting your phone. So you can run like a full application. So let's go ahead and show you guys what I mean. So here's the phone. And sorry, here's my Samsung phone sitting right there. And you can see desktop mode running directly on it.
Love
and
it.
It was as simple as, and when I'm done, I close the laptop, put it in my bag, disconnect my phone still works and it's fully charged and I'm running. Everything works great. I think this is a really good way of looking at it also from future-proofing, because at this point this always will run the latest version of whatever my device is running. Mm-hmm. So it will always get updated.
Totally. Yeah, that's fascinating.
That's really cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
Right on. And it's pre-order right now for this. Any idea kind of what the cost will be? Is it I
didn't get a chance to see the price on the pre-order. I know they literally
looks
and
like
I think it's worth the price point. I think obviously for backers was a little bit less, where I think it was really good. And I think almost all the backers should be receiving their hardware within the next week or so. So they've shipped everything ahead of Chinese New Year. So very excited about it. And they've done better inspection and they work. Like I said, it's a great idea. And once we have true desktop mode in Android, with Android hopefully 11, because it sounds like 10 is not, I think this will be even better, because even the Pixel 3a hopefully will be able to, or the 4a will even showcase that. I think we need those type of experiences.
Even more compelling. Yeah, $259 with shipping though. That goes up to $294. So keep that in mind if you want to pre-order right now. Maybe there'll be ways to get it through Amazon once it's released. I'm not sure.
I hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too. NextDock 2. Awesome stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ron, you have the next story, which is really just a rumor.
Another week, another leak.
Another leak. Yes, there we go.
Another week, another leak. That's how it goes here at All About Android. This week, it's the Huawei P40 Pro that got the full leaking treatment from friend of the show, EvLeaks. If you believe these leaks from Mr. EvLeaks, you will see the Huawei P40 Pro might have a ceramic build, might have a hole punch display. It might have a 5-lens camera bump on the back covering 18 to 240 millimeter equivalents, i.e. the ultra-wide to telephoto at around 13x zoom, and it's likely with software to make that happen. Will not have Google services, of course, and is likely to launch around March. So that's a question as to whether or not you want to believe those leaks or not. And just in other Huawei news while we're at it, the company has shipped 240 million smartphones worldwide in 2019, even with the US ban. So they're doing just fine. And 6.9 million 5G smartphones. And they are currently the 5G market leader, besting Samsung, which shipped 6.7 million 5G smartphones in 2019. So Huawei's on a roll. And what do we make of the P40 Pro? Do we think this leak is believable, or is it fanciful?
So if I have to look at it just from based on existing hardware, so this is an Honor device, as you probably know. Honor is a subsidiary of Huawei, and the aesthetics of the actual device is very similar to some of those leaks that we're seeing. So the setup, the arrangement, so I don't think they're too far off. I do always love the fact that the P series is always going to be the basically the workhorse. They always showcase some of the best camera tech in there. So it's not uncalled for to see this type of them pushing the envelope. The Google Play services, that hopefully will work itself at some point. Right now, it is what it is. And there are workarounds, but out of the box, that's not there. And I'm looking forward to it. And March should be around roughly around the time in Europe, where they usually launch them.
Yeah,
I'm liking it.
Do you get a lot of time with the Huawei devices? I feel like Huawei is we talk about a lot of the phones on the show, and frequent guest Matteo Doni will come on and he'll bring Huawei devices with him. But rarely do I get a Huawei device in my hand that I get to kind of spend some quality time with. So,
in the last few years, I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with Huawei and as well as Honor. I've had the opportunity to play around with ever since the Mate 10, the Mate 20, the Mate 30, and with the P series, I started with the P20 and the P10. So I like the approach to hardware. I love the camera processing that they have. Their images are just second to, the Mate 20 Pro is one of my favorite devices of 2018, and I love that phone. Mm-hmm. The Mate 30 Pro kind of built on it, and it gave us a little bit better, and we have some of the new tech with the waterfall display and the quad camera setup and all of that. I think they have a lot of good things to offer. It's the current political situation that it is. That's outside of our control. Unfortunately, it's not, we can't decide these things. But I hope at some point that we would be able to start working and, things do get worked out. Mm-hmm. They do make a lot of good hardware. I feel like they push other manufacturers to do. An example would be the Mate 20 Pro started that feature of having reverse wireless charging. That new feature that we have with the S10.
Yep.
It started with the Mate 20 Pro. And, look where we are.
Yeah. Yeah. It drives the market, Huawei,
and I think that's what we want.
Hardware.
We want the competition to drive, because and only then you can get the new things that you want to think about. Foldable displays. We saw what Samsung's going to be coming out, and but we saw last year with FlexPi, with the Fold. We saw with the Mate X. There's a lot of things. If we don't have competition, we will never see. Yep. They don't know how to if they should bring them up or not. But great hardware.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, competition drives innovation. So it's good to see, and like you said, the political stuff, we can't control. And so it's nice to see, stuff happening,
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. Another thing that we're looking forward to, because this, Samsung's got this whole foldable thing going on right now. We've been hearing about this next foldable coming from Samsung. And the name, I can't remember if we mentioned it on the show, the Galaxy Z Flip, boom, which makes it sound. So is this the one that's supposed to fold in like a book? Well, wait a minute. Which one is this? Now I'm losing track of this, whether this is the one that folds in.
So that one, I think, was the code name Bloom, which is what we've heard. The one that the clamshell design that closes on its own.
Okay. So is the Z Flip, is this the one that's supposed to be similar to what Motorola has been showing off for its Razr then? The Z Flip I haven't really read up too much on that one, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was roughly supposed to be around like $1,400, but that could change as well. So it's supposed to be the new one. So the next one they're supposed to announce at Unpacked is supposed to be that one that closes all the way. So it was codenamed the Bloom, now is Z Flip. Got it.
We'll have to see what they. I just want them to have that in the demo room after the show. That's all I have to say. Because last year with the Fold, they showed it on stage, and it was nowhere to be found. So I want to play with that.
Hopefully they have it in store for you. Well, the reason that I ask is because Z Flip, like the letter Z, makes me think that it's like an accordion style fold. You know what I mean? Where
there was one device in, I think, 2019 that we saw that showcased something like that. You're right. And even I think Xiaomi was showing one that folds on the outside, not an actual Z kind of like folding.
Right.
I'm not sure if they're trying to go with the Moto Razr. Is kind of trying to cut the Z letter. It could be maybe more of a marketing, because the Razr,
Yeah, well, I didn't think about that. Yeah, there's kind of a little bit of crossover there. And it also has Flip in the name, which makes you think like, okay, well, it's like a flippable, kind of like the Razr. So that's probably more what is indicative of what this is. But anyways, the news here is that Korean publication iNews24 says that it will cost between 1 to 1.5 million Korean won. Converted, that's around $861 to $1,292 US. So definitely less expensive than the almost $2,000 that the Galaxy Fold is selling for.
And that was not even the 5G model. That's the 4G US model.
Right. Yes, that's true. That's true. Other little tidbits. This would have a smaller battery than the Fold, a Snapdragon 855. So in other words, not the Snapdragon 865, which is going to be the standard for premium devices in 2020. So it'll be a little bit behind in that regard. So you're paying less. But you're getting more in, let's say, the design of the technology, but maybe a little bit less in the under-the-hood stuff. The article also says glass display with a plastic layer to prevent scratches. And I don't understand that because glass doesn't fold. So what is that? What does that mean?
That was a little bit. And I'm wondering if it's a translation thing or it could be. But I don't. To have glass, that would be very interesting to see how they do that. If there's a combination of glass and plastic, maybe plastic in the middle, but it's still. I mean, if there's somebody that could do it, it would be Samsung, but it's just not possible. And like I said, it's more.
Hold on. Anything's possible. What if they have foldable glass?
Then I'll be lining up. That's all it means. That's all it means. I'll be first in line and I'll be waiting, and I'll be basically handing my money over right away at the show. I'll be like, here's my credit card.
Yeah, exactly. Foldable glass. Don't hold your breath. Don't fold your breath, Ron.
Don't fold your breath. I love it. I love these foldables. I also love it when people write in with answers to our problems. And you could do that by emailing aaa@twit.tv, or you can call 347-SHOW-AAA. And you could be like Derek, who wrote in response to our griping about music apps and Google Homes, and says, I wanted to let you know that if you change your default music player in the Google Assistant at home, your family can still listen to music using YouTube Music while you on your phone are listening to music on Google Play Music. I've been happily using this workaround for a while, and it should work until they shut down Google Play Music. The only potential headache is if you want to play a song from Google Play Music that you've uploaded, you have to specifically ask for Google Assistant to play it on Google Play Music.
Okay.
And thanks, Derek, for that tip. That's a great workaround, except for the fact that there is a specific album on Google Play Music that is not on YouTube Music yet, as far as I can tell. I've been able to find it, that they use at home to get the babies to stop crying. So this ain't going to work for me, unfortunately. But that's a great workaround. It's very cool.
I guess based on what Derek is saying here, though, you could queue that up by also including on Google Play Music in your query, which is something that I do regularly now because Google Home just isn't nearly as solid when it comes to playing music as it used to be. Now, sometimes I know I have the album in Google Play Music. I know no one else is using it, and it goes and so I fire off the command, "Hey G, play da-da-da by so and so, whatever the album is," and it's like, "All right, playing da-da-da-da-da. Sorry, that playlist is empty," or "Sorry, someone else is," and it's just like, ugh. So then I have to implement the on YouTube Music in order to do the workaround, and then it ends up working. But
something's going on behind the scenes. Something's going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
That's just a mess. But it's funny because I've kind of created a monster because I have the Google Home hub in the kitchen now. And my wife has discovered that on certain songs, it gives you the lyrics, and it's like karaoke. And
exactly.
She really likes that functionality. And as far as I know, YouTube TV or YouTube Music doesn't do that. I don't want YouTube Music. I'm just like so dead set against it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But thank you, Derek. I'm going to try this workaround, and we'll see if that works for us.
Like the disappearing headphone jack, soon you won't have a choice, Ron. Well, actually, you will. The S word, Spotify.
I don't want to use Spotify either. I'm just cranky.
Well,
I'm so cranky.
So anyway. TK, then I have to ask you, what are you using for your music?
I'm been a Google Play Music subscriber since day one.
Yeah.
I subscribed at I/O when they announced it for $7.99, and I've been enjoying it for $7.99. I do face the issue every once in a while because my son does enjoy playing music off of it and then accessing the library there. And I haven't been able to work around it. But luckily, our schedule doesn't, conflict too much. And I tend to listen to more podcasts, so I think it works out okay for me. But when we're in the car, when we're going out, either be it on my, Nest Home I have the same display, by the way, in the kitchen, and I love it because it does show the lyrics, and he can sing along with it, so it works better. I'm still facing the problem with the whole 10 device limit thing. Every time I get a new phone, I have to go in and unregister a device. So I have other problems with, Google Play Music limitations.
That is definitely a phone reviewer problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And every time I call them, I'm like, it's like, sir, how did you hit 10? I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I just got a new phone today. I'm getting another one next week. I need to be able to install Google Play Music to test this phone.
Yeah.
Can you clean it? So I call them literally like 3 to 4 times a year.
Yeah.
They should have me on there.
And it's funny because some folks in the chat room are saying, I did look at Amazon Music and I don't really love it. Honestly, my like in emergency break glass apocalypse option is that I've taken my MP3s that I have uploaded to Google Play Music, which I still have on my local machine, and I've set them up in Plex. And I use the Plex app.
You know what?
I can use
exactly that circumvents everything. I love Plex, and I'm happy that you mentioned it. Yes.
Well, yeah, but the only problem with that is that a couple of years ago I stopped buying MP3s because everything was streaming, and I can just add an album to my library. And so now I need to figure out the delta between the MP3s I upload to Google Play Music and the streaming albums that I added to my library direct from Google Play Music. Get those MP3s, put them in thing, and then what do I do for new records? It's a mess. This is why I'm like going back to records like almost full time, because it's
Man,
so much easier
when you
to
spell
own
it
the
out
album.
like that. That's such a nightmare. You're so true. I mean, that's so my problem too. I have no idea. I've just been adding albums to my library, and when this all transitions over, I have zero confidence that it will be the same. I'm going to be starting from square one.
Re-upload everything.
It's going to be very frustrating.
Fun times.
Anyway.
2020. It's going to be a great year.
Well, I'll tell you what 2020 is going to be. It's going to be great for business. And let's thank our sponsor before we move on. We want to thank LegalZoom for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. And LegalZoom is saying, hey guys, make 2020 the year you officially start your own business. Carpe diem, get on it. You can do it. Or you can finally get your will or living trust sorted out, which is something I need to do.
Yeah, you do.
Oh my God. Over the past 19 years, LegalZoom has helped more than 4 million people. They provide the resources you need to confidently resolve your personal and business legal needs. And you can get started quickly online. And if you have questions or need advice, they've got the right people to help you find out. LegalZoom isn't a law firm, so you can count on their network of independent attorneys for advice at the right price, since they don't charge by the hour. Make 2020 a year you'll remember for the right reasons, and use LegalZoom to help you out, just like me when I eventually sort out my will and living trust to make sure my babies are protected after I'm gone. So listen, go to LegalZoom.com today and enter promo code AA in the box at checkout for special savings. That's LegalZoom.com, promo code AA, LegalZoom, where life meets legal. And thank you, LegalZoom, in advance for helping me in the way that I know you will once I get around to it.
Just do it, Ron.
Oh, man, there's so many things I need to just do. You have no idea. But we'll get there.
I know.
2020 is our year. It's going to happen. All right.
Right on. Thank you, LegalZoom. All right, it's time for some apps. Let's jump in. Google launched 3 new experimental digital well-being related apps in the Play Store. One of them I cannot show off because it requires a Pixel 3a, which I do have, but even though I have it, when I tried to install it, it still wouldn't let me install it. Not to mention, it's a little more complicated than that. So I'll describe this one because it's kind of a little out there. It's called Envelope. And like I said, it's for 3A users only. I don't know when they're going to actually open it up. But basically, you print out a PDF that folds into the shape of an envelope. You seal the phone inside. And you use your phone through the paper. Because basically what it does is it limits God, this is so weird. It limits access to only the dialer and the camera. So the idea being that, like, I really don't want to use my phone. I'm going to put it in this paper envelope and be forced not to use it. And I guess it locks things down in the OS so that, you know, only the dialer and the camera are accessible, and you have to enter a code in order to unlock. I don't get it. I don't get this one. It's weird.
Yeah, it's. I'm not sure how this is. I mean, they've been. This isn't the first set of apps. I mean, they've released other apps for digital well-being, and they're trying to provide more mindful, being more conscious about your screen time and usage. But I'm not sure how. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make it fun.
Yeah, totally. This really seems kind of like a project that makes a statement more than it is actually useful.
And this is funny. This is funny because when I saw this article, I was like, Jason, this is old news. Like we already covered this. And then I was like, oh no, these are new. These are 3 more new apps.
Because like I said, there was 3 from last year, and so this is just more specific for the 3A. So
So I'm starting with the 3A. Yeah, I have no idea on that one. So anyone out there who plays around with this and figures it out and can sell us on the idea, AAA@twit.tv. Send us an email. Do a video or something, and we'll play it in the show because I'd really love to know. The other 2 I can show you. So one of them I have installed on my phone. It's called Activity Bubbles, and really it's nothing more than a live wallpaper. It sets the background to black, so that's nice for saving battery, of course, on certain phones. But anytime I unlock my phone, let's see, do it with my face. Anytime I unlock my phone, it should add a new bubble down there. I'm not sure why it didn't do it there, though. So let me see. Let's try again. Oh, there we go.
Here we are.
You see that little bubble installed down there? So it's just a way to visualize. Here, we'll stay over there. Visualize how many times you've unlocked a phone in a given day. I will say that I had my phone resting on the counter or on my desk while I was working, and I would get notifications, and the screen would wake up for a second, and I get a notification. Oh, something's going on up there. That was cool.
That's the Project Soli.
Oh, okay. Well, that was interesting that I could get a camera on that. You could actually see it.
A little bit, yeah.
Anyways, when it would wake, there it goes again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's because your hand is getting closer, so it's recognizing a movement and it's looking for your face.
You're right. This is fun. Anyways, when my phone would wake up from a notification, a ball would drop, or a bubble would drop, even though I didn't unlock it. So it's not perfect, but it's kind of a neat way to visualize. I also wish, I haven't unlocked it. I just picked it up, but yet it did it. But maybe that's what it's tracking. It's tracking the times that you might look at it. I'm not sure. It would be neat if those bubbles floated around based on how I was holding the phone. Like if I was holding it upside down, if they'd fall down, but they don't.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. But then you'll be turning it on to play with it.
That's true. The point is to not play with it. The last one is Screen Stopwatch. It is also a live wallpaper. And
it's a variation on the one we saw last year, right?
Yeah, there was one last year. You're right.
Yeah.
This one basically is just a running counter of the amount of time that you have your screen open. So, I'm turning it off at 14. Let's see here. It picks up at 15. So, throughout the course of a very busy day, it's like you can be shamed with how much you've been looking at your screen when that number gets larger and larger. I think that's kind of neat. A little distracting as I'm watching it right now, but
it is. But it for me, from a review point of reference, this would be great to show my screen on time.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Yeah. That's a great point.
Your SOT is right there, waiting for you right there.
That's a really good point. So if you're interested in some of these, you can go to the Google Experiments site. They have a whole bunch of experiments that you can find, including these. Just do a search for Google Android experiments and you can find them. So quick poll, do you all use digital well-being features?
So I started using it within the first couple of days, but I generally do turn it off because it ends up being more of a battery drain for me than the actual functional. My goal is to get the most amount of screen time on a device when I'm working on it, when I'm using it. So for me to have an app to tell me, it's a little bit counterintuitive for me. So 90% of the time, unfortunately, I do disable it. But I'm very mindful, especially when new apps like these do come out and test them out on the Pixel devices that I have. So it's nice. I appreciate it. I'm more into the parental control side of it as opposed to just information.
Yeah.
And on a more or less professional, serious note, I don't need digital well-being apps when I have two pairs of little 1-year-old hands who want nothing more than to touch my phone when I'm using it. So I find myself putting my phone in my pocket more often, so that the twins don't get to it, which I'm sure is the precursor to in a couple of years when I want the parental controls on their devices. So, but right now I've got organic digital well-being going on.
Yeah. Well, and that doesn't even necessarily go away as they get older, Ron, because then as they get older and they understand what a phone is and that it has everything they've ever wanted in life, that when they see you on your phone, then whatever you're doing is the most important thing to them, and now they want your phone, and it never ends.
We're already seeing, actually, with little Luna, we're already seeing it because my wife uses to video chat with her parents, and I do it with my sister, and so they already light up when they see it because they know, and she just wants to touch it and she sees things happen, and it's like I'm seeing it start already, and I don't know what else to do. Like it's a shiny thing that lights up. Like
totally.
They look at it the same way as the dumb little ball that they have that lights up and spins around, right?
It's a curiosity.
It's just challenging.
It is, and it gets harder when you get around 10 because my 10-year-old now is literally like every day, when am I getting my phone? When am I getting a phone? When am I getting a phone? So it's a challenge. But you have to realize, I mean, they grew with it. This is to them what we appreciated back in the day. So for me, it's more, trying to get him to appreciate just enjoying life. And of course, when he does need a phone, we will make sure that we get the best possible one that I can watch things on.
It's funny because my wife and I, now we're getting off topic, but my wife and I were talking about this because we're saying, okay, well, as they get older, what are we going to do, and screen time and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, but my dad put me in front of an Apple II Plus when I was a year before kindergarten. Like if I didn't have that time and that development, I wouldn't be where I am today. Like, like the fact that I played Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego for hours on end and stuff like that.
Oh man, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to deny them that same kind of thing. It's but now of course it's completely different and it's a lot more engaging and all this sort of stuff. And as my wife pointed out that, my parents said, stop playing the computer and come to dinner. And if I didn't, there were consequences. So it's not just about the device. Right. It's definitely a new adventure in the 21st century.
Balance. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, but
balance.
But talk about balance though. That LG G8x with 2 screens. That's a perfectly balanced 2-screen device, right?
Okay, that works.
Same resolution.
That one passed.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're looking at it, you're like, what could I do with this phone? I mean, it's got 2 screens. Aha. Nintendo DS emulation, right?
Oh, yes.
Well, sure enough, someone of all places on Reddit showed how they use Drastic DS emulator to accomplish this. The user by the name of Everglow89 said the Drastic DS emulator doesn't allow you to run top and bottom screens in landscape like this setup would, so I need to get another app that could force landscape. Then I resized the screens and placed the buttons appropriately in Drastic settings. So it took a lot of hoops to go, and there is a photo of the finished product right there.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. There you see
awesome.
the LG G8X with its 2 screens, and he's got the buttons on the bottom one, and the centered on either side is the game, the Nintendo DS game. Pretty cool project, and hopefully someone sees this and makes it easier to actually happen, so that other than what Everglow89 had to go through to make it happen, because that is a neat application, especially if you're into gaming and emulating and all that fun stuff. So very cool.
A better reason to buy the device, which I'm very jealous. Juan Carlos has the LG G8X and I haven't had a chance to play with it. I played with the P40 with the dual display, but this one is definitely, as you said, well balanced, as both displays run the same resolution and you don't have to compromise one over the other. And this is definitely really exciting. Gaming on devices like this reminds me a lot of the NVIDIA game. Remember the NVIDIA gaming system? They had the controller with the display that was built in. So it's very nice to have them on mobile devices. They're in our pockets, and now they can play really good emulators.
Yeah.
Especially DS.
Very neat. Maybe the Sony Tablet P will finally get a new life.
I hope.
Years and years and years later, it'll get a new life as a low-powered DS emulator. No, I don't think that'll happen. Quick email before we jump into the arena. Mike writes in to say, well, think about this. if you write the date for the next Samsung Unpacked event as 11/02/20, that is day, month, year, then it would read as 11/2/20. So Samsung is changing the name from the S11 to the S20. Get it? 11/2/20.
20.
He says, I wonder if they're going to do any play on this at the Unpacked event.
I wonder if they're going to make a Van Halen record.
It all goes back to Van Halen today.
It
Or
always
Rush.
Or Rush, one or the other. Who cares? Although we'll probably
rest in peace, Neil Peart.
Well, that's true. Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Yes. That is sad. I just could never get into Rush, man. I tried. Just didn't
Well,
work
I
for
would
me.
I would have thought you would have been into Rush. Like, I feel like Rush would have been a precursor to your Primus phase.
Okay. I guess I could see that. But,
I see that. I see those dots connecting. You know,
Okay.
but also fascinating that you avoided it. Another time, another podcast
Yes,
where we talk
indeed.
about music.
Indeed. All right, let's get into the arena. It's time.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
All right, Eric Duckman. It's not that I have anything against Rush, because I knew this was going to happen. Rush people are fans of Rush are very passionate about their fandom of Rush. It's not that I have anything against Rush. I just can't. I just
No, it's
don't
totally,
dig the music. I just can't get into it. I appreciate it.
It's totally okay not to like something. It is fine. I don't like Harry Potter. I don't like Doctor Who. Not because they're bad or anything. They're just not for me.
Doctor Who? No.
Anywhere
see-
but there.
That's another episode, man. We can have a conversation.
The air suck. Like, oh my God, the shock. Yeah, there it is. Oh man, the Z Morning Zoo right here with Victor.
I did not see Doctor Who coming out. That was out of left field right there. It's like, what? Wait.
No, TK, come back. Don't disconnect. Don't go anywhere. We need you for the arena.
Never got into it. Sorry. Yeah.
Don't go to the Doctor Who talk, okay? Not on the show. Okay.
It's Dragon Ball and Doctor Who here. That's all I do.
Dragon Ball Z, no interest in either. Like Pokemon, Power Rangers, all this.
That's it. That's
Come back. We need you.
Wait down in the chair and make fun of me, say I don't like popular things. No, I enjoy popular things. I love Star Wars. We all have our things. You don't have
We
to
do
like
all
them
have
all.
our things. Yes,
That's
yes.
the thing.
That's the beauty of how there's something for everybody. Exactly.
That's right. All right. Before we anger everyone by saying one thing that they like and that we don't like.
I just want to do a podcast where I just talk about the things I don't like.
That's actually not a bad podcast idea.
Yeah,
Like invite someone on and what is the thing that you don't like that everyone likes, and then talk about it and everybody can hate them.
Seriously, talk about the Muppets. I'll do it for an hour. Right.
All right. Last week's poll, episode 455, it appears that Fing is the winner. Who had Fing? That was Padre. Okay.
That was Padre. Yeah.
Good job, Padre. Had to know the team guest was going to win with a networking app. Fing wins 46% of the vote. Second place, Infinite Painter. That is Flo with 35-ish% of the vote. Third place, Lock X. Ron's pick, 11%. And fourth place, big surprise, mine. I'm never winning this game ever again. Photoshop camera gets 8%.
I still believe in you, Jason. With those results, though, it makes it very hard.
It makes it hard to believe in you, Jason.
It is we're 2 weeks into 2020, and Jason, you are in last place with 2 points.
Firm.
I am in third place with 5 points. The guests are in second place with 7 points, and Flo is in first place with 8 points. And Flo, we miss you. She took off this week. Yeah. And more than likely, she's not going to be able to hold on to that lead because she's going to be taking leave soon.
Yeah.
So, Jason, this is your chance, man.
It's my chance to get third place. This year, I'm getting third place, damn it. Just you wait and see, at least third place. All right. And thank you, everyone. Studio audience. And thank you to Wade County for pinging me and always adding up this stuff. We appreciate the work that you do for the show. Okay. My app doesn't have a whole lot to it. I mean, you probably have a camera app that you like that's, on the latest camera API and all this kind of stuff. Hedge Cam 2 is a camera app, yes, and it has all the bells and whistles that you might need out of a camera app. It's a pretty straightforward design as far as that's concerned. Some settings for jumping through all of your pro camera controls. Everything's there at your fingertips, so you can dial in the ISO and the resolution and set all the things that you need to do. Jump in. Here, I'm going to remove some of those things. But the reason that I'm bringing it on is because you were just seeing the rear-facing camera. Now you're seeing the front-facing camera. That's why you're looking at me, and I'm sorry about that. Now, check this out. I'm going to tap it for a third time. Oh, my goodness. It has the ability to tap into the infrared camera on the Pixel 4. So, Victor, if you turn out the light... Go ahead and try this. Nothing changed because infrared, it doesn't matter if the lights are on or the lights are not on. You can still see how the lights are off in here, but yet in the camera, you can still see me. How many fingers am I holding up? 4. Yeah, that's right. You only saw that because of the infrared camera. You win. So anyways, I just think that's kind of neat. Like if you need to take a picture in the dark or something, it's not the highest resolution results in the world. Here, this was from, did I just take that? Apparently I just took that. It's not the highest resolution in the world. It's, I believe it's 640 by 480 is the resolution for the camera, the infrared camera, but it's kind of neat that you can do that. You can make your own Blair Witch Project movie.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I didn't like that movie either.
I will say, yeah, no, I didn't like that movie either. I will say thank you to Del Poco for that joke. I repurposed that for myself. But yeah, so here's an app that allows you to take pictures with your infrared and see in the dark. And isn't that cool? Isn't that worth first place? Personally, I think it is. Do you? Place your votes when we get there for Hedge Cam 2.
Is that a stopwatch shutter? Like the shutter button?
Oh yeah, because I think I put on timer mode up there. I put that on, and it becomes a 5-second countdown to your infrared camera.
I was thinking it was like a time lapse or something. Or
oh no, it's not time lapse. It's just a timer, 5-second timer.
Well, it's a nice little touch.
Yeah,
it's very clear.
Yeah, so that is it. It's called Hedge Cam 2, and you too can take pictures in the dark. If you happen to have an infrared camera on your phone, I don't think there are a huge amount of phones that have that, but the Pixel 4 definitely does, so if you have the latest Pixel, you can do it.
Wonder if it works with the LG G8.
I would wonder that too. I'd be curious to know if it taps into that.
Because the G8 is the only other one that I think has a similar hardware. But it wasn't, I don't think it's a Project Soli, but it's similar hardware where it actually had cameras to be able to see our hands when we were trying to do the gestures on.
Oh, okay.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know that too. Somebody test it out and let us know. AAA@twit.tv. That is Hedge Cam 2. All right, TK, I have your app installed. This was definitely one of those moments where I was like, oh, it's totally been done. And it hasn't. So big surprise.
I was surprised. It took us a little bit to get to that list.
Yes.
I have to say we went through a list to get to this one.
Yes. At 456 episodes, 3 to 4 apps in the arena each episode, we've burned through a lot of the obvious and the big ones and the not so big ones. At this point, it's really difficult to find apps that haven't been in the arena, except this one hasn't been in, and it's kind of surprising. And
I'm kind of surprised, yeah. So the app we're talking about today, you probably heard of it, is called Discord. And it originally started as basically a way for gamers to be able to communicate with each other while playing games, for obviously chat. And the reason why I recommended the app, it's one of the ones I use consistently. We use it over at XDA on a daily basis. I'm also part of Juan Carlos's Discord server, and there's quite a bit of a great way of communicating with people. It works on multiple platforms. You can log into it multiple times, so you can have it on your desktop, on your mobile device, iOS or Android. And some of the main benefits there obviously is private messaging, file sharing, but it's also group messaging and pinging. So you can create subgroups within a group. So it's kind of like the forums of the way XDA forums work for us. And this is a great way to communicate. Very nice, free app. And there are some obviously different tiers that you can subscribe to, but it works great. It's lightweight and it doesn't kill your battery. So I appreciate having access to it. And again, if you're a gamer, you already know what this is. If you're not, check with your favorite either publications or people have basically Discord servers all over, and definitely over at XDA, you guys could check out our Discord servers as well. I like it very much.
That's what I should have done. I should have logged into the XDA Discord server before this review, because as you can see, I have not used Discord personally. Like, I've heard a lot about it. I've had no no thing that brought me into Discord outside of today. And then I opened it up and I just realized, there's not a whole lot if you haven't been invited into a chat or you don't know about a chat.
Yeah.
It's rather empty and lonely here.
I mean, it's a lot like when we first discovered Slack. It was like, okay, cool.
What do I do now?
We started over on Slack originally, and then we moved over to Discord.
Yeah.
It worked better for us. It was more consistent. Updates were much faster, and it's also the ability of just using it, like I said, on multiple platforms. You can be on your PC, on your iPhone, on your iPad, or any device that you can use. For the most part, it works, and it just works exactly every time. There's no issues, and it's one of those really nice ones when you want to talk to a lot of people. And it's different than Telegram, but I feel like it's unique enough. So if you're looking for it, find out your groups, your favorite community, and see if they're on Discord, and you could join their group and check it out and see if you like the app.
Love it. That is Discord. Probably heard of it before, but if not, check it out and go to XDA and get on the Discord that they have there if you want to kind of put it to the test.
Exactly.
All right. And then let's see here. Great pick. Ron, I have yours installed. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So I feel like every couple of years I look for a good app to tell you how to help manage your battery. And here in 2020, it is an app called Battery Guru. All one word. Wow, that is the digital well-being stopwatch.
It is a little distracting, I have to say. I'm going to have to get rid of it.
But so Battery Guru is not only a great app to give you a lot of information about your battery and how it's being used, but also answers a lot of questions that I often get from folks as to how to keep your battery healthy and maintain a good battery life, because we all know the battery is key to the phone being used well. If you go back to the info page, to the main screen that you're on, when you open it up, it tells you what percent that circle along the top tells you how much percentage of your battery is left, right? Then down below, you get a sense of how fast it's discharging via a milliamp numbering, right? And specifically between being unplugged and the lithium-ion battery. You get a temperature reading of your battery, which is important to know that, as well as the estimate in terms of how much battery is left in it. You get some percentage in terms of how fast it's charging or discharging, depending on what state it's in, how much you have left. Right, so it's all this key information that you want to know, as well as down at the bottom, you can see the apps that are using a lot of your battery usage there. So that's great. It gives you the information, which is cool. But the real power of this is in the bottom when you hit the protection and the health tabs down below. So on the protection, what you can do is you can set temperature protection, so you can set a minimum and maximum threshold for your battery, so that when it hits either the minimum or the maximum, you get hit with a notification to say, hey, your phone is heating up or it's getting too cold. Manage it. But the key one is the charging limit. So as the battery will tell you, and it looks like, Jason, did you turn off all the little notes that came on?
Yeah.
The little.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you first open the app, there's a bunch of little kind of tool tips throughout the app that give you guidance, and it does explain. And this is what I always forget. Like, I tell people, I'm like, oh, the way you got to properly manage your battery. And they say, how? I'm like, I forget. But they do explain that, you don't want to charge your phone up to 100% or discharge it totally down to zero. In fact, your phone works the best when you keep it between 10% charge and 80% charge. So what the charging limit threshold can do is you can set that. Right now it's set to 15 and 80. And if you enable it, when your battery gets to 80% charge, it'll give you an alert saying unplug your phone, because you're at where you want to be. And then it also lets you have a battery drain reminder. So it will, when it sees a sudden increase in battery use, it'll throw an alert, and that will let you know that your battery is being drained. So that's a huge aspect of it. And then if you go to the health tab, there's a whole bunch of information about how to use your battery, right? About keeping the temperature, about learning to charge it. Don't use the device when charging, avoid idle charging, all this sort of stuff. So if you really want to dive deep and maximize the amount of battery health that you can get, definitely check out Battery Guru. If you go to the saving tab down along the bottom, you can set a sleep mode and a battery saving mode. You can do all these kind of specific settings on what works best for your use of your phone. So yeah, Battery Guru, if you're serious about keeping track of your battery life and you want to maximize the best you can, it's like a must-have app. Here it's in default dark mode, but there is a light mode if you go into settings. I feel like I always want to flag when there's a dark mode. You can turn dark mode off and we'll go from there. And you can turn those tip cards on and off that I was talking about, so you can, if you want to see them and get the more kind of contextual information, if you need that info, you can. So it's helpful there. You see there's the battery estimates and all that fun stuff. And what's neat, and Victor, if you go to the Google Play Store page for this app, you can see in the screenshots for it, the first screenshot, it's showing the app on a OnePlus 7 Pro. So it was nice to see my own phone being used in the screenshots right there with this little pop-up camera. So I don't know why, but I was like, oh, hey, there's my phone. So it doesn't make up for the bad font that it uses at the top of that graphic, but we won't point that out anymore. So
it's playful.
Yeah, it's playful. Battery Guru, free in the Google Play Store. Take control of your battery.
Nice.
There you go.
Very good. Battery Guru. Excellent pick. All right. So you can place your vote for your favorite app by going to twit.to/AAA poll 456. Will you vote for HedgeCam 2, which lets you see in the dark? Will you vote for Discord, which lets you chat with the world? Will you vote for Battery Guru, which lets you monitor your battery usage and control it? Twit.to/AAA poll 456 to place your vote. What is Victor voting for? I'm very curious to know.
Oh, Discord.
Oh, okay, I missed it.
Of
Discord.
course.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
Not surprised.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Because I use it.
Yeah, a lot of people use it. I think we know where this week's going. But that is it for this week's episode. TK Bay, awesome getting you on, man. We have to have you back. Thank you so much for carving out a couple hours to be with us tonight.
Of course, anytime.
Right on. This is kind of the opportunity for you to leave people with kind of a last word, anything you happen to be working on, or what they can, where you want them to go to check out your fine work. What do you want to know?
The easy way to find me, always just type in TK Bay, either be it YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. It's easy to find. But for the most part, most of my work is over at xdadevelopers.com, as well as YouTube/TK Bay, because as some of my friends say, I am your Bay, meaning I am your friend in tech. But I'm on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere you want to look for me. I try to help as much as I can. I appreciate it again for letting me join you guys.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
It's been great.
It was our pleasure having you on. And
as far as the NextDock, hopefully within the next couple of days, I'll have a video out on it showcasing some of the main benefits of having a laptop that basically gets upgraded every time you get a new phone.
Yeah, that's pretty compelling right there.
Exactly.
Right on, TK. Thank you so much. Ron, what's new in the Ron world?
Not much. I'm tired, man. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at RonXO on both of those. Not much to report in my world. Working on stuff behind the scenes, but nothing too major. Just getting through the days with the babies.
Right on. I hear you. Cool. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Victor. I think I heard a couple of soundboard things, but
yeah, there was a few.
There were a few. They mix in so well that it's hard for me to know that it's not now Ron, that it's then Ron.
I think they need to be louder.
Maybe right before it, there's like a foghorn or something like ew, 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 and then like holy cow.
That'd be great. A klaxon of some sort.
That'd be amazing. I'm sure no one would get annoyed with that.
Definitely, the people listening will have some a few words.
Exactly.
We'll
get way more emails that way, so that'll be good. You can find me all across the Twit network doing shows, of course. Tech News Weekly this Thursday. Have a few interviews booked already. Just a fun interview show that I do with Micah Sargent here at Twit. We have a lot of fun. Twit.tv/TNW, or find me on Twitter at Jason Howell. Real quick, Twit audience survey. We do this for a few weeks out of every year. This is the opportunity for you, our audience here at Twit, to tell us what you think about what we're doing. It's share a little bit of information about you, nothing personally identifiable. We do not share your data. This is really just about you sharing with us what we're doing right, what we could be doing better, things you're looking for, all that kind of stuff. This is a chance for you to give us your voice and tell us what you want to see more of. twit.to/survey20 is where you can go to take the Twit survey and let us know. There's no sign-up form. Like I said, we aren't going to track you or anything. It's literally just feedback that will make Twit better, and we really thank you for taking the time to do that. It does not take very long, and we hope that you'll do that. That is it for this week. This show publishes every Tuesday evening after Victor spends some time working on it, and do appreciate his work. Just subscribe to the show. That's all you really need to do. Twit.tv. There's so many different URLs. Twit.tv/AAA. That's the show page on the web where you can find all the information for how to subscribe, be it podcast, be it YouTube. We're everywhere. So go there, subscribe, or play what we have on the page. You can find video and audio links there as well. And you can find Twit all over social media. If you want to find Twit on Twitter, it's at Twit. On Instagram, it's twit.tv. We're even on TikTok. Apparently, Twit Talk is what you search for, and you'll find us there. Do a search. You'll find us each and every place that you can think of, hopefully. And that's it for this week. We'll see y'all next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody.